Welcome back, my adventure space cosmonauts to the Silver Cosmo movie reviews.
Yes, here we go.
Awesome.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sailing this great sky from galaxy to galaxy. It's your Captain Chris with a K.
And it's your boy Tristan.
And straight from the Fortress of Solitude, as always, it's your off-brand Superman, Marquez Christopher Eason.
And this is your favorite host, Cosmonaut Carlos in the house. Oh, I forgot to put the can. Oh, I screwed that one up. All right, guys. Well, check it out, you guys. We're going to talk about Shazam. All right. We're going to talk about the first Shazam and Shazam Fury of the Gods right now in the movie's playing. All right, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about the tickets giveaway to the Fast 10 movie. All right. I know you guys are excited about that. So before we dive in, we're going to set to lift off. Let's go ahead and take a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Razor Cut Information would like to thank you, Ernie Reles, at State Farm, located at 11330 East Central, Wichita, Kansas. Please visit Ernie to talk about your home, auto, life insurance needs. As they say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Thank you, Ernie.
All right, we're going to talk about Shazam here, directed by David Sandberg.
And starring Zachary Levi and Mark Strong.
And Jack Dylan Grazer and Asher Angel.
Megan Good and Digimon Hutsu.
Okay, Shazam opened on April 5th of 2019 on a budget of approximate between $90 and $100 million and made $366 million, and that's approximate numbers in the box office. All right, we have liftoff. All right, let's go ahead and dive in and talk about the characters in this movie. All right, Marquez, I'm going to start this off with you.
Okay. Which character? There's so many.
Man of the hour. Let's talk about Shazam and the family.
Okay, well, Shazam, if you guys aren't familiar with him, he has the strength of Hercules, the wisdom of Solomon, the stamina of Atlas, the courage of Achilles, the speed of Mercury, and the powers of the lightning powers of Zeus. And the first letter in all those Greek gods' name, they spell out Shazam, the acronym. Mm-hmm. So I never understood how the character, just to give you an outside perspective, just to look from outside the lore, I think Shazam is the ultimate wish fulfillment character. You guys, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like, as a kid, we just wanted to be adults. You know,
right,
to me, that was what the character kind of portrayed for me. It's just that, okay, here's this, because I remember when I was his age in the movies, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be grown so bad.
This first one they do early on in the movie. I call it the bigging it, like the movie Big. There's the scene where it's him and Freddy, and he's going in and buying beer, like, yep, I'll take it, thanks. Yeah. And he's got like a gummy licorice hanging out of his mouth or whatever, like Tom Hanks did back with his best friend in the movie Big. Like, he was like, no, he finally convinced his best friend, so they go and buy like nudie magazines,
and stuff like that,
and alcohol because he's grown up. That's my little like theme for, but I agree, that's like, it is the huge wish of, which I think makes the whole Shazam character such a draw, is because it's that wish fulfillment, like you say, like it's not only is it superpowers, but you're going for a kid's wish to be an adult, plus, oh, sweet, I have all these powers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Okay, that brings me to the way that he was portrayed in the movies. I never understood how the wisdom of Solomon was applied yet in the movies. I don't think they've ever really touched on it. They just make it some sort of pun or a reference, some kind of joke. I always felt like that, in the earlier comics, when he said the magic word, he was aware of himself as a child, but he always had the wisdom of Solomon to kind of guide him, kind of there just telling him, no, that's not a good idea. No, maybe this, I always thought that his access to the wisdom in some ways kind of helped him make better decisions. So this is why the whole kid thing in the big body, that never made sense to me.
Right, because what kind of wisdom do you have as a 14-year-old perspective?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's some pretty wise 14-year-olds out there. My son, he would definitely say he's one of them, but but that was a part of the character that always kind of struck me as odd, was the fact that, okay, how does that work? He's still doing kid things, but yet he has the wisdom of one of the wisest people in Greek mythology. So
Right.
how does this?
So why are you still doing stupid things?
Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay. So, but the plot of the movies of the first movie is very simple. It's just straightforward. He fights the 7 deadly sins, who's are pride, gluttony, envy, greed, wrath, lust, and sloth. They take physical form to wreak havoc on the earth.
Which they're stored in the Eternity Rock.
Yes, the Rock of Eternity.
Rock of Eternity, where the Shazam wizard is.
Yeah, and that's how Billy Batson gets his powers, is through the wizard Shazam. He chooses him because he chooses a person pure of heart.
Right.
Now, it was portrayed originally in the comics via covenant with the gods. But here, late in the recent adaptations of Shazam,
simplified it, I think.
Yeah, they kind of condensed that into they took the gods' power because they were misusing them.
I thought in this movie he almost is like lured or tricked in, like he doesn't know what he's doing. He just keeps hearing "Say my name."
Yeah,
say my name. And he's like, okay, this is cool, but it wasn't like an intentional. Which maybe that's what it takes to be pure of heart. You're not looking for your own self gain. Like the bad guy, Mark Strong's character,
Sylvana. Dr. Sylvana.
Yeah, he's definitely, because he gets taken to the Rock of Eternity way before Billy ever did.
Yeah,
and I think they said 74 is when that first opening scene happens to him.
Yeah,
when he gets taken there and then brought back, and because he starts to fall for the deadly sin, because that's kind of one of the trials. Even Billy goes through it.
Yeah.
The trials of walking through the 7 deadly sins and not, because the whole time they're tempting him, like, no, just let us go and we'll take you. You'll never work again. We'll give you all the power you need. And
and that's the thing. Also, they never really go into depth about the whole how the wizard chooses the champion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to talk about an associated character, Black Adam, he was given the powers by his son.
Who had been the chosen champion
by the wizard, and that's the thing. They never really go into depth about how the wizard chooses a champion. It's just
that he hasn't found anyone in thousands of years.
Yeah,
that's all he gets.
And that's it.
Nobody's worthy.
And I kind of felt like that was worth exploring a little bit. Just like, okay, what is the process? Is there a vetting process into choosing a champion?
So based on the movie itself with those characters there, Marquez, I'm going to start this off with Dristan. Dristan, how did you feel Zachary Levi portrayed Shazam? Did you like the direction they chose on choosing him as the main Shazam actor?
Yeah, I like the direction they chose. I mean, because I feel like, it's a kid, so he doesn't really know what he's doing. There's some comedy to it, to him. I mean, and I feel like it suits him, like acting like a little kid in an adult body.
Yeah.
I feel like he did a great job portraying that. He's like, ultimately, he's just a kid. And you see that in him, and he doesn't know a lot, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't have any of that stuff going on.
And how about his adopted brothers, Chris?
Like Freddie Freeman, just the rest of the family.
The family itself.
I mean, I thought Freddie Freeman's character is the guy that's Jack Dylan Grazer, isn't it? That plays Freddie Freeman.
Yeah,
he played it really well. I thought it was a nice sidekick, comedy relief, but he's also like the one that's like actually knows about stuff and is helping Billy. He's the only one, he's his first real friend. And that's just that character's got that kind of streak that he's always trying to do the right thing, even though he's already he's got physical ailments that prevent him from doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
But he's still ready to, stand up, do the right thing. So I really like Freddie Freeman. I thought the parents were great. I really like those two. The dad is pretty funny. He's not like clueless, but he's still a little bit maybe.
He's a movie dad.
Yeah, he is. He's not a TV dad. He's a movie dad.
Yeah, kind of duncy. That's how they're going to portray dads. From here on out, I'm sure.
And I thought Mark Strong was pretty villainous. I mean, he's not some big baddie, but he definitely had like the. You want to kick him in the face thing going on. You know what I mean? Like you could tell who was about. It was an obvious bad guy, like portrayal of an almost over the top caricature of a villain.
Yeah.
I don't think he quite went over the top, but it was very caricaturized villain.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like the bad guy from the Raiders of the Lost Ark that gets his face melted at the end.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I thought, the characters, I think they did a really pretty good job casting it. although I know that Zachary Levi doesn't necessarily have that stereotypical what comic book necessarily face, like he's not super square jawed or anything like that.
No.
But he like Tristan, you were saying, I think he really fits the mold of the character of like a teenager in an adult sized body. He is kind of silly that way.
He played that role really well.
Yeah.
You know.
So I thought he was well, and I mean the other adult versions of the kids were only on for a little bit of that one, so I thought they did okay.
Yeah, there's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carlo.
No, I was just going to say pretty much the direction that David Sandberg was going with it. It was comic relief as well, like Tristan said, and also the fact is that you could sit there and be a kid at heart when you're watching this.
Yeah.
So you take the spectrums of your Man of Steel, your Dark Knights, and your Wonder Womans, and that Shazam just falls in the comedy side, not so serious. Okay, a time to reflect, give you little kind of world real situations going on, but it makes you escape from that, and you're not stuck in this darkness there. And Dr. Sivana, that character is just, you could tell he was that next door neighbor, low key envious type of dude, you know. So that's the vibe that I got from it, because we know from David Sandberg's films, one of his top films he did, what was it? He did a couple movies. He did the Annabelle, which that was kind of scary. So he took a little bit of those things, kind of mixed it in, but not too bad in that degree, thank goodness. But
and it's so much to touch on in the whole Shazam universe, I think. And I know they only had 2 hours to do it, but one of the things that I really liked about the character Shazam, I mean, I thought they did really well, was guys, like all great heroes, they seem to be born out of some sort of tragedy. Superman, his planet exploded. Batman saw his parents murdered. Spider-Man saw his Uncle Ben die. Spawn died and went to hell. It's the worst possible tragedy.
No punchline to that.
Yeah. And Billy Batson was orphaned. Now, a part about this movie, his mom, the way she orphaned him. I remember thinking like, wow, she just abandoned him. It was like, what?
Dropped him off.
What? So, and then when he, tried to come back to her life was basically in shambles, and I've always felt like that was the part about the movie that was really kind of jarring to me in a way that I mean, because I think children, they really bring out the best in people and the worst, but for the most part, I mean, my children, they really make me want to be the best version of me that I can be, and that's why when I saw that, I was like, that's okay. Yeah, they really did that part well. They portrayed that well. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carlo.
No, I was just going to take a quick pause and let's put the slow music. Go ahead. You sound so intriguing and emotional. This is for all the parents out there. This one's for you.
It's just like and I think that whole, hey, look at me thing. I'm a superhero now. Children, that's one of the aspects of I love seeing that. And I felt like Shazam, they should have explored that a little more. Like, hey, mom, look, what do you think? I'm a superhero now. So you still. They just I felt like that they kind of dropped it. They just kind of let you see him go back to his mom, and then that was it. You never heard of it again.
Now, I was going to ask real quick. I was going to ask Chris here, with the theme of the movie itself. Did you feel that Shazam overall, just knocked it out of the ballpark when it comes to comparing to the other DC movies? How did you feel about the theme of this movie?
I mean, it's definitely up there. It's hard to say. I mean, of all the DC, I mean, you've got like early Batmans, which are some of my personal favorites.
Wait, how early?
Sorry, the 90s versions, 89,
okay.
90s.
Okay.
The Michael Keaton one.
Okay.
The one that's coming back.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
I love it. But so where it ranks in the pantheon, I don't know that it's like up to that necessarily level, or like the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. I really like that one. It is up there as far as a solo go though. In recent years, I gotta say, like, it's better than, to me, the Batman versus Superman, the second Wonder Woman, It's definitely better than that. The first Wonder Woman was pretty dang good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
But I really like Shazam. Overall, I think the movie is just really well done. Like this one, there was nothing like super. It was just a great introduction to the character. You have a kind of a neighborhood level bad guy with Savannah. He's not necessarily. I mean, he's trying to take over the world, but it's all right there in Philly, basically.
Well, see, and this is. I'm glad you brought this up, guys, because for me personally, the Shazam movies, they bring up more questions than they answer, and by that I mean not from within the universe, but from with James Gunn and everything. Where does this fall on the spectrum as far as how does it tie into this new universe he's trying to create? Is he gonna get rid of this? Does it go beyond that? I mean, where does it go from here? I mean, is because they with the direction that they're going, is it a standalone movie? Because they've referenced other characters, they brought them in.
Yeah.
So where are they going to go?
I was to say, because the end of this one, he brings in Superman. You only see his feet.
So is
there at the end, but
did they do that on purpose or what? I mean,
from what I've recalled, right now we know, like for example, let's say for example Wonder Woman 3, we know that's on pause right now.
Yeah.
We also know that there might not be a sequel to Black Adam. Because right now James Gunn is taking this to a whole nother direction. And also too, with the Flash, there's been rumors that the actor that portrays the Flash in the CW might portray the next Flash, because right now
switch it to that
now with Ezra Miller,
he's already going to go multiverse in this next
one. With Ezra Miller still kind of battling his legal problems, he might not be brought back. And
I really like
if Michael Keaton's back, why not do another one? I mean, you can do so much with this universe. I mean, especially so when it comes all the way back to where Shazam's going to go. I mean, you've got a lot of characters, a lot of potential where this can go. This can be into the Infinity Crisis. This can go, especially with Mr. Mind. He's a character that can help him bridge.
Let's get more into that with the next.
Oh, the second one.
Because it opens it up. I mean, we do see him at the end of Shazam 1.
Yeah.
We do see Mr. Mind come in and talk to Savannah about allying, joining forces.
Yeah, and again, that's a storyline that doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere. Honestly, guys,
we'll save it for the second one.
Okay,
for now.
All right,
let's finish this.
I'm joking.
But I mean,
all right. So, well, Marquez, let me ask you this.
Okay.
So this is now in our segment of into the Cosmos plot. Was the plot interesting to you in this movie?
It was predictable. I mean, it was about what I expected, and like I say, I have to say the aesthetic of the movie is great. The special effects were really good. I think they edited. I mean, it looked great. The movie looked good. I mean, but as far as I don't know, it just didn't hold me, guys. It was like, okay, I love the character Shazam, but I always felt like, they could do a lot more with him. And being his first movie, his first outing, even with that, I felt like they could have done a little more with the character. Personally, I mean, I feel like they've referenced this in the comic a couple of times. They said that what's really cool about Shazam is that he hadn't even reached his full potential yet. Superman, Batman, they're pretty much topped out. Shazam is nowhere near his top tier level. Now, what I would do with the character, if it was me, I would maybe transport him to a future, or we catch up with him where he has come into the fullness of his powers. He knows everything. He knows his limitations. He's aware of where he can go, how he can use his magic, when he can use it. He can use access the wisdom of Solomon from different periods of time within a short bit. That would be a cool twist to the character. That's something I don't think we've ever seen yet.
I think you got to save some of that though for the big ending.
True.
You can't give them all that at first.
No, not at first. But this is just what let me rephrase that. This is where I would like to see the character go.
Okay.
But like I said, with the way they're portraying him, I just don't see that. In the way they're structuring the DCMU, I just don't see that being a thing.
Yeah,
guys.
The first one.
Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, guys. What do you think? You think that? I mean,
well, let's ask Tristan. What do you think, Tristan, about how the plot was?
I agree. It was very predictable. I felt like it was a typical, bad guy,
yeah.
and then doing all his stuff, and then the good guy. Very predictable, but I mean, I enjoyed it, and it had a good ending. And I agree with what you were saying about Shazam. I kind of don't see him going there either.
Yeah.
From these past 2 movies, it's
How about you, Chris?
I liked it. I like you guys said, it was pretty predictable, but I liked the thing I liked about it is the way, even though it was predictable, there was still their own way about getting there with a little bit more humor, things like that, and then bringing the family narrative together. Like he's, as you said, he's got a really dark story leading up to this time with abandonment stuff, and now he's finally, from the character development perspective, he's breaking through and he's trusting some people again. He trusts Freddy, he trusts his brother, his foster siblings. So there is a little bit of character development, but it's not great. The storyline wasn't great. I thought the execution was great. The story itself was average. So Shazam was Sandberg's first really big movie. He had done a couple feature films prior to that. He made his name as a YouTube short horror film guy in Norway, which I think is where he's from. I hope I said that right. Maybe it's the Netherlands. I can't remember now.
Oh, you're really
I know the rabbit hole. Sweden. Oh man,
he's from Iceland. Oh man, we really messed up.
I'm really excited to see what else he goes with because he stepped in having never done a major action feature film, and this was a great. It was edited really well. That's what I mean. Like the execution of it was done really well. The jokes were timed well. The effects were done well, super well. The story was a little lacking, but I think the rest of the movie really stepped it up. So
my take on this movie was, indeed, it was family friendly in its own little way. Marquez, correct me if I'm wrong, but Shazam, in the cartoons that I've seen him in the movie, he's not really a joker like that. He's very arrogant and cocky, but to me, it's like when it comes down to taking care of business, being a hero, that's all set aside. In this movie, I mean, David Sandberg has got Shazam more of a half serious, half everything's funny. So when I'm looking in this movie, it's kind of like, oh, he's funny. All right, I get it. But you see, it's kind of like I already have that in Flash. I already have Flash already doing that. I mean, to me, I don't need other characters to do it. And now with Peacemaker making his show, debuted all that. I feel like the DCU introducing into Shazam, they're trying to make it half serious, half funny. I mean, but it's okay. It stands alone its own part. But when you really put him up to the big dogs, when you put him with the Justice League, I think he's a cast out to me. It's kind of like, all right, you're powerful. But in that movie itself, I think it did its justice. So let's go ahead and move on over to the Silver Cosmo Movie Lightning Star Review, brought to you by She Cuts Barbers. All right, let's go ahead and name off the stars. So it's out of 4. Chris, how many stars do you give Shazam?
This one I'm going 3 for the reasons I was saying earlier about execution versus story. Like, it was really great executed, but the story was a little bland. Little. I'm not trying to trash it.
No, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's not bad, but I'll give it 2.5.
Getting critical now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, after I say what I would give it, I have to explain it a little bit. Okay,
go ahead.
Okay, I'll give it a 2.
Oh.
Okay, and now, not that, like I said, I like the character, but even with his first outing, I felt like, okay, after we got the origin out of the way, I forgot who it was that said this, but they said a lot of times when you get a character off the page and onto the screen, they lose their ability to internalize. I think Billy Batson has such an internalized, being abandoned by his parents. I felt like they could have touched on that a little more as well, as far as like, and that for me was like a big, okay, they dropped the ball there. You know what I mean? That's why I give it. That's primarily why I give it a 2. That, and maybe he could have had some visions about him seeing himself in the future or seeing his potential or something like that. But I'll give it a 2. Guys.
Wow. I mean, I thought, and this, I know, Marquez here, Shazam's one of his favorites. Superhero, him and Black. No, but I think you said you like Black Adam more than Shazam.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly because of Dwayne Johnson. But yeah.
By the way, he has a big poster of him in his room. It's just between us guys here in the show. I'm kidding.
No.
All right, so this is where I'm going to go with this.
Okay.
For the purpose of the movie itself, it was entertaining. You have some veteran actors come in there like Megan Good. Megan Good didn't seem like she really helped uplift that movie. It was just kind of another pretty face, kind of like, hey, Megan Good's in there. All right, no big deal. The parents did a great job in this one as well. I think I could relate to them in the sense of when I was watching the movie, I didn't feel like, oh, they're just comic relief or they're just to add on. And it's kind of like it didn't have that Black Adam effect where you had some characters there that was not really necessary.
Yeah,
it was just kind of like, okay, everyone is playing a part there. But overall, I mean, it's not one of my favorite DCU movies because, like I said, it doesn't have that seriousness to that degree, and I just felt like this is a guy, Dr. Savant, and then also Mr. Mind, that these are his arch rivals. How can I take a little worm that serious at the end of the day? I mean, I could just plink and he's gone, but that's he said, she said kind of deal. So overall, I'm gonna give this a 2.5 as well, Tristan. So now that we have to do the math, so we have a 3, 2.5, and a 2. It's going to be locked in. Silver Cosmo Movie Reviews gives it a 2.5. Okay. All right, you guys, this is a double header here. Let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Hey guys, have you ever seen those little towns in Kansas and wondered, what's there? Let me tell you about a hidden gem in Salina, Sky Trampoline. It is the perfect place for both family outings and spending the day with friends. They have large open trampoline jump court, a ninja course, a setup to test or develop your parkour skills, and that's not even close to everything. Additional fun can be had in their foam pit, dodgeball area, a laser maze, and even an arcade. They also have specialty events with black light lit trampolines and a DJ. Sky Trampoline is located at 1820 South 9th Street in Salina, Kansas, and is open every day until at least 9 most days and sometimes even later. Give Sarah a call at 785-491-1118.
All right, we are back. We're Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right, so A Fury of the Gods, Shazam, was directed by, again, David Sandberg returning, starring Zachary Levi, Mark Strong,
Jack Dylan Grazer, Asher Angel.
And then Megan Good and Digimon Hansu.
Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren.
All right. Movie opened on March 17th of this year of 2023 on a budget of $125 million, and right now they're sitting at $65 million so far.
And $15 I just saw it today, so throw another 15 on top of that.
Make that still $65 million. $15. All right, we have liftoff. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the character. So this is the sequel to the first Shazam, and let's go ahead and kick it off with you, Chris. Let's talk about the characters.
So yeah, we're back just like Shazam 1. We've got the same main characters, Zach Levi and Billy Baston. I'm not sure the kid's name on that. Playing Shazam and Billy Baston. And then his best friend, Freddie Freeman. Now this time, a little bit of family drama going on. Billy finally is committing to be part of the family, but now the family's kind of drifting off doing their own things. Yeah. And so he's getting frustrated. But the characters, a lot of them the same. The big change is this one. Of course, the villain this time are the Daughters of Atlas.
Yeah.
Portrayed by Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren, and I'm not sure who the new young lady was.
Rachel Zegler.
Rachel Zegler played Thea. Thank you.
Yeah.
So those are the new characters.
Now, real quick, just kind of a spoiler alert here. Marquez here. This is going to be something that we're going to reference back on our Vice show.
Okay.
Now, I've already been asked this question, and I'm going to ask you: does the villains, are they canon or are they made up by the DC movie universe?
Yes and no.
So they're not made up by DC.
Yeah,
they're made up by the Greeks.
Yeah. Atlas is in the DCU. Yeah, but his daughters, I feel like those are kind of movie plot points. I mean, they were great characters. I mean, but
yeah, I believe that they said the director and creator said they took characters that weren't really in the comics as far as like being official villains in a comic.
The proper term is they took liberties.
Right. They took some liberties with these characters.
I mean, I like the actresses that portray the characters. I mean, they were cool. They did a good job. I mean, but like I say, that's the thing about this particular character. When you're dealing with magical, fantastical themes, you don't really have to go into depth about their powers. I mean, this
magic.
Is just, this is just how they are, and that lack of depth, for me personally, it kind of makes it a little shallow. So,
Tristan, how did you feel about the new villain characters that were on there?
I thought it was great. I liked the 3 characters. They had conflict of their own going, of course, with the actual heroes and everything. So, that one, Anthea was struggling with, trying to do the right thing, and still trying to be by her side with her sisters. And but I liked this group and how they portrayed them and the powers they had. It brought something new, and I thought they did a great job.
One thing when I was looking at these villains, of course I admire both actresses. They're both veterans, but to me, at first, I just could not see them being serious. It was hard for me to look at them like, okay, wow, they're the real deal. To me, it looked like it was a payout. It was. I mean, we're gonna look back at this, and I still feel that maybe perhaps they could have introduced a different character that would help this movie sequel. I mean, to me, I don't want to be biased right now, but the thing is for this movie per se, I would have wished maybe Dr. Savannah would have brought in somebody else. Could there have been another character? No, we don't want to go off the script here, but who could have they brought in to kind of maybe if Lucy Liu and Helen was not the choice in this movie, who would have been somebody else that they could have used?
Well, Black Adam.
Yeah. Okay, you went way too far the script. Keep it simple here. Let's keep it simple here.
That's his nemesis. I mean, honestly, I've always liked Shazam fighting other magical enemies. Like he could have fought like a possessed Minotaur, which actually showed up on the streets. Medusa, characters from Greek mythology. Any character. I think Ares was killed by Wonder Woman, right? Mm-hmm. So they could have brought in Helios,
Hades,
ones. Or no. Wonder Woman killed Hades, not Ares. I'm sorry. So yeah, they could have brought in Ares. And
except he's really her main arch rival.
Yeah.
They don't want to get too crisscross there.
Yeah, which is a shame. I always felt like these as a cohesive, as a shared universe, that was the thing. Now I've heard the fact that DC tried to copy Marvel's structure. I've heard somewhere that was kind of like a bad thing on their part because they didn't devote enough time to.
They haven't built the foundation like Marvel did.
Yeah, they didn't have anything to stand on, literally.
Right.
So, but I always felt like since both Shazam and Wonder Woman are kind of diving in the Greek mythology, why, if any two characters should have a shared universe, it should be those two. So them sharing villains or
and you never know, James Gunn might feel the same way because spoiler alert.
Yeah.
She shows up.
Yeah, I know.
A couple times, once not quite looking the way Wonder Woman should be looking, which I thought was hilarious. That was a pretty funny scene. And then, as you know, for those that have seen it, she does make an appearance later on in the movie, not during any fighting or anything, but there's also some other, I don't know if we want to get into the mid-credits, end-credit scenes. There was because you were talking about the whole, he's not really quite working for Justice League type levels. They bring in that Justice Society, and he's like, what? You can't be making the same thing start with Justice.
Yeah, that was
there's so many other words, and then he winds up on Avengers. It's ooh, I like that one.
Yeah,
Avengers Society.
And we'll dive into that here in just a second here. But let's go ahead. Let's lay out the theme overall. So we've been kind of talking about that a little bit. So in a movie perspective, Tristan, I'm going to ask you this: was this movie better than the first movie in the context of where the direction they were going? Did they regress? Did they progress? What were your thoughts?
I thought it was better because they're building onto the world of Shazam and everything, and introducing, I guess, new characters that aren't really related to the comics, because y'all said that they're brand new, they don't even exist in the comics.
Just the villains who both died. Well, but I guess the one and Thea is still around, but
she's still around. But I felt like they were progressing, maybe not at like a big pace, but I mean, we're getting somewhere. We're getting to see their relationship evolve. The characters are developing into their own people, and how they are as a family. So it was going somewhere, and I kind of liked where it was going. And then with the Justice Society and all that. So I felt like it was better. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was a little better. I'll say, because like I said, there was a part in it, with his mom or his adoptive mom. How they made they reconnected. He's 18 now, and it was a major plot point. That Billy in this movie, he feels like because he's turning 18, then his parents won't get any government assistance for having him as a foster child.
Right, he no longer becomes a foster child.
Yeah, so he feels the anxiety of them throwing him out on his own. But at a crucial point in the movie, his mom assures them, no, you will always have a home. That was the part about it for me. Mm-hmm. Like I say, that emotional depth that they add, it just adds the character. It just makes it so much more of a powerful theme for a character that is really, I don't really see how anybody could take him seriously, even with his powers. But
this is how it got serious. When he was talking about that scene specifically, Marquez, it came to my head like, okay, how is he going to get a job? How is he going to do all this? Is he going to get a paycheck from the Justice League? What's going on? How's he going to file his taxes? But I mean, in that sense of where it was going, I'm going to say, Chris, that it had a more of a human element to it. It's something that we can all relate to.
Oh yeah,
a sense of belonging. And then I felt the parents in this one, besides the first one, you could really, it was coming home to kind of episode. And then you're watching, it reminded me a lot, remember the movie The Sandlot towards the end when they were all growing up and everybody was doing their own thing? That's what it felt like. This movie felt like it was The Sandlot at the end, and it felt like, hey, we're grown up. It's time to kind of move on. We got to do other things.
Well, and that's the thing, guys. I have to ask, okay, like, we're talking about how, okay, the realistic aspect of being a superhero. When you think about it, like Carlos, you said, okay, how's he going to get a job, file taxes and all that? If you look at it from, okay, guys, let's say if we all four had superpowers and we stopped a monster or a giant robot from attacking downtown, we couldn't just go to lunch after that. We'd have to, if the press gets involved, how would the public, would they be divided against us? And there's a bigger question. Do we have superhero insurance?
Yeah.
What if, Carlos, you knock a guy into a building and you damage the structure of it? Because we know you would do that. That's something you would.
There'd be a whole new branch of law. There'd be a whole new branch of law and insurance just around superhero. Guaranteed.
I am in good hands with Allstate.
Who pays for the new Philly stadium that they just destroyed? Right?
Yeah, I was telling Driston that. I was like, well, the Phillies aren't going to play there no more.
But that's what I'm saying, though, guys. Once we start introducing realistic elements into fantastical worlds, I think it's hard to find out where to stand on that. For me personally, it's hard to really, if we're going to ask questions like that, it's like,
I think that's part of you just got to be like, okay, that's the separation. Like, it's not real. It's not going to.
Exactly. That's kind of like if we're going to be there, can we also be here?
We're diving in way too deep.
ask the Good Hands people, do they have superhero insurance?
I'm going to do that on my next next bill. But I will ask this. Okay, so the basis of the theme itself. Now, we discussed about in the first movie, we discussed how it went and it was predictable. Let's start this off with you, Tristan. The theme for this movie. How did you feel going in and after you left watching the movie?
Going in, I didn't really have any expectations for anything. I didn't read nothing beforehand, and so I was just going in thinking it's sort of going to be the same as the first one, and I felt like in a sense it kind of was, just progressed on that on the first one, because it still was kind of predictable. Whenever Anthea was getting close with Freddy, I'm like, this is kind of fishy. Something's going on. And then they started putting the points together. I'm like, yeah, she's the bad guy. She's a bad guy.
She's part of it.
And then, of course, she's like in love with him. So there's this conflict. She's like, oh, she's the bad guy, but she likes this dude. That's a good guy.
She's going to save him from the...
Yeah, and it's just like, well, now you sort of see where it's going from here now. So I sort of, in a sense, it still was predictable, but I felt like they did a better job of hiding some elements. And but I did enjoy, I did enjoy the plot. It was very entertaining. And... having all the family get together throughout the entire movie, having them all have superpowers rather than just Billy. I liked seeing that, and
that was cool.
Them trying to save, Philadelphia and all of that stuff. So, again, predictable, but I felt like it was more entertaining, and I liked it a lot better.
It's kind of a cliche. It reminds me of the Super Bowl, how Philadelphia lost to Kansas City. Yeah. That kind of destruction.
It's great.
That's how it
digging on Philly now.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? It's just they went in and then smack.
Yeah. But be careful with them Philly fans now.
No, tell me about it. But now here's the thing I do want to ask you, Chris. I have to ask you this question. With the unnecessary extra characters that they added, let's go ahead and dive into the Cosmos plot. In the plot itself, were you interested in how these villains were portraying themselves in this movie? What was your take on Lucy Liu and Helen?
No, I mean, they're great actresses. I think they did okay. I would have liked a little more backstory, kind of almost similar to like the last Thor movie where you see Gore. Like it opens with Gore, right? That was his name. Gore. Yeah. So you see what's causing his reason for being what he's become. Was watching his family, his everything that he knew. That's what made him become the Godslayer. From this, we don't really get like that full like, why are you fighting so hard to destroy everything from them? There's none of these flashbacks about how great their world was or how bad the things were that happened in between. Well, and so there's there are these people. They said there's more of a. They don't come off the page. They're just book characters.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I didn't like that was bugging me was she was like, all humans are bad, all these other things are bad, but they didn't really like have anything to do with like Atlas, right? That was the wizard.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't really humans.
Well, humans. He teamed up with humans to steal all their powers and lock them away.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
So they don't like humans, but I mean also they did that because they were getting treated horribly by the gods, so that's why the humans essentially rebelled. But again, they didn't really flesh that out very much. I think a 5-minute scene could have done a lot, like just a montage almost, of the pain that they've suffered, and now they've now lived in this empty void for thousands of years. But there was no even correlation to that. They just walk on the scene. They're like, "Hey, we're here to steal some stuff."
And how did they get out? You guys remember that scene?
They go back to how they got out, which was when Shazam Shazam broke the staff at the end of the first one. It broke the barrier between the dimensions that allowed them to then. But I don't know why it then took them 4 years later to finally get out.
And then again, the Wizard of Solomon, like we talked about.
I was about to get to that. That's one thing I liked about this movie is they actually harped on, like, Billy went back to the wisdom of Solomon like multiple times. Like, well, where's this? Like, I don't have this wisdom. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. He goes, like, he actually says that multiple times through the movie to various characters. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have this wisdom that everyone's supposed to have. Like, and all his brothers are like, yeah, he doesn't. He's stupid. He makes bad choices all the time. And of course, the wizard says it's not about the wisdom in your head. It's the wisdom in your heart. Follow your heart because you're pure of heart. Thus, you were given the knowledge.
That makes no sense.
I could say this. Now, I'm not trying to get all biblical here, but look at it like this. Remember, Solomon got his wisdom because he prayed for it for in the biblical sense. We're not here to have Bible study here. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well,
King Solomon, when he was praying to God and he was blessing him, he asked for wisdom.
Yeah.
So that's why when they say he has wisdom, it's because God blessed him with wisdom. So if you're going to make a translation to this one here, if you really look in between the lines, his wisdom is that with the experience and with his brothers and sisters working with him, that's what helped him. Because
Yeah.
if you watched it in the second one, that's where it was gaining. And again, it's like you're just sitting there like, okay, I get it. You're not smart. Okay, but why? How do you get out of all this? It's because he's learning from the things that are going on, and he applies it.
So you would say, Carlos, it's situational?
He's more yes.
Okay.
I like that.
Well,
he's more
but-
situational about it.
Okay, I mean, you could argue that wisdom is the application of knowledge. I mean, you could. I think the context of the wisdom of Solomon is always. I think it's deliberately vague. That way writers can put the character where they need to put him.
Right.
Does
it means he knows all,
Well,
or he
yeah,
just
doesn't know
makes the right
anything.
choice at the right time.
Let's go ahead and discuss one thing real quick. I have to
Okay.
get this off my chest.
Okay.
With the sound and editing, Tristan, I mean, I'm going to be the first to address this. There was certain elements of that movie where if you were at the movie when you were at the movie theater, some of that music was just a little obnoxious and loud, especially like I know Marquez is going to
Maybe
get
it's just
excited
your
about the
theater.
Wonder Woman, but
Yeah, that was.
I just felt like some of that music was just like, brrr, like it just made me
I
take
didn't
away.
have that experience.
It
at all.
felt like Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan. I'm like, this is not a Christopher Nolan movie.
I didn't really have that experience, but I sort of noticed some like I guess CGI or like green screen effects. Just like you could tell it's different from the green screen. It's not very realistic.
Oh, really? I thought it was pretty well done.
I mean, I thought, yeah,
As far as I thought Black Adam had more CGI hiccups than this one did.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I remember seeing like Lucy Liu, her character on that dragon, and like in the background, you're like, wow, this is so fake. You can tell. You can
Yeah,
tell, like, really,
I just didn't care for.
I was telling
Dristan.
Tristan too that, and I promise you guys, I didn't even see the movie, but everything they were doing, I named it. Tristan's my witness. When those unicorns came out, and I was saying, "Yep, taste the rainbow." What did they say? Taste the rainbow.
Exactly.
I was like, I told you, I wrote the
That was
script.
pretty
I mean,
funny,
I was just nailing it on the dot. But Marquez, let me ask you this. Now, since we are talking in the heart of the plot here, tell me something in that movie for all the Cosmo movie reviewers. What was one thing you took out of this movie that was not necessary?
Oh, just man, that's quite a few things actually. But the main thing I felt like, something I think should have been. I like you say about Megan Good. I felt like she was too much of a peripheral character. She's such a great actress. They just kind of had her, like you said, as just another pretty face. I kind of felt like the whole wooden dragon.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I was going to say.
Why not go with
Even Billy was
scaly-
like, "What's up with this?
Yeah,
Like, it
why not
doesn't
a
make sense."
Scaly dragon. Why not a traditional dragon? I mean, why?
It could be based on the myth. Like it could be the mythological beat, like as it's described in the myth. I don't know.
Like my wife said, she said that a wooden dragon breathing fire. I mean, that kind of
Magic fire.
But yeah, but see that, but
We have
that's what I'm
Game of Thrones for that reason.
saying. But that's what I'm saying. It's just if it's magic, you don't really have to go into
Yeah,
depth.
it's magic
So-
fire.
How about you, Tristan?
I mean, I don't really think anything was unnecessary that I could have seen.
To me,
There was a couple scenes, but I mean,
how about you, Chris?
That were unnecessary. I felt it was pretty streamlined. I was one thing I thought was a curious choice is there was definitely much more of them in their superhero form. Like when they're all sitting around their lair, why are they in superhero form? Why aren't they just?
Maybe they need that to access the rock.
Maybe
I don't know.
Well, no, because they bring her. They bring.
Yeah, you're right.
And,
You're right.
and Pedro's in it after he
He's
loses his
yeah.
power. So,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They may need it to access it, but I don't think they have to have it to be there.
Be there because I noticed their symbol was lit up
Mhm.
when they're there versus when they're outside of the
Maybe
rock.
they're
It's-
like
so-
getting juice while they're in there. In
maybe
superhero
yeah,
form?
maybe it's charging them.
I don't know. I just felt like there was no explanation. You're like, what? Why are you not?
yeah.
Like,
A character I would have used instead of the dragon is Cerberus.
oh yeah,
A
that
giant
would have been great.
three-headed wolf.
That's and that's a big time Greek myth
Yeah.
bad guy.
Plus,
Baddie.
he's one of my favorite.
Yeah,
Greek
he's cool,
mythology.
and
In
it could look scary and be really cool.
the story I'm writing has Cerberus. in it. But anyway, just. I'm sorry.
Stay tuned because we are going to interview Marquez and our local artist. Just throwing it out there that we're going to interview our local artists and writers. So Marquez, be looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
So here's my thing. When I was watching the movie, towards the end a little bit, I mean, here's a do moment for me. So I'm watching the movies with my friend here, Tristan, yesterday, and I drank too much water. And I had to go. I just couldn't stay. I was like, okay, man. Okay, whatever. I go to the restroom, take care of business, and I get back. What did I miss? You missed the fighting
He
scene.
missed the entire
I
fight.
was like, what? No
Like, missed
way.
it all.
Like the whole last one.
Yeah, like
The bomb and everything.
man.
I was
Oh.
like, what did I miss?
Said, oh,
This
yeah.
is bad.
Yeah, you missed the fight. Like,
So
Like the climax, the whole reason we sat down today.
So I'm watching him. He's gone. He's out.
Oh.
But here's the deal. To me, in that movie, like I told you, I like Lucy Liu. She's a great actress. Hell, she's a veteran. But to me, it just seemed like when they got those two on for the movie, I'm just sitting back like, okay, they're gonna probably portray some goddesses that are maybe in Mount Olympus or whatever, and they were out there causing all that havoc. And I just could not buy into their character. Like, they're a real threat. Oh my gosh, they are a real threat. It just reminded me of the Richard Donner, the Superman, and Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was just beating Superman, mentally. He was beating them that way. They go in there and it's kind of like Lucy Liu. It just seemed like she wanted to break character and be back in her Charlie Angels. That's what it looked like. I was like, okay, she's probably going to do a roundhouse kick. She's probably going to do something. That didn't happen. And then Helen Mirren, it's kind of like, okay, I know you probably got arthritis in your fingers. I mean, there is no way in the world you're going to do something else. But give her credit. She towards the end, she became credible in that show. So,
she did.
No disrespect to Helen. I like her movies, by the way. So.
Yeah,
It's all love here. But what I'm saying is for this particular plot, I just felt that their characters were weak. And so
that's where, I can't think of anything to really take out, but I can think of a lot to add in.
Yeah.
Especially regarding the Atlas daughters, or Daughters of Atlas, however you want to say that. That's where, you could give me another 10, 15, maybe even 30 minutes that's just talking, really focuses on that to give us a connection that we're like,
Maybe
we see why they're so bad, or we at least see why they're fighting this way.
Or show some Greek mythology, show that a little bit, kind of let it soothe in. And then I felt like with the wizard was more down to earth character in this one.
He was.
And it was like, oh, this is cool. He's doing this, he's doing that. But at the end, who really stole the show, and it wasn't even the heroes, it was the parents. I think the parents did a great job.
The battle wagon.
Yeah, that was really good.
I like the part about the house. No Shazamming.
No Shazamming indoors.
Yeah, that was neat. So we are finally here at the spot. The Silver Cosmos movie Lightning Star review is brought to you by 63 by Kim. Chris, I'm going to start this off with you. How many stars do you give this movie?
I'm going with 3. Can I go quarter stars? Is that
gonna
too
be
much
math?
math?
Fine.
I can go half. I don't want to quite go half though.
Yeah.
We'll take the quarter.
It was a little better than the first one. That's where I'm going. So
Okay, so 3 1/4.
I'll give it 3.
Yeah, 3 1/4.
Ooh,
I
that's
have
a
to
big
because
step up.
that's actually because it. No, okay, maybe 3.
Okay,
Maybe 3. That's just 3.
we're going
because
once, going twice.
3.
Okay, 3.
Okay, yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3. All right. All right, 2 + 1, 3. All right, okay, I'm joking. All right, so check this out. This is how I see this in this movie. So taking the first movie and again comparing it to what we've discussed about in the first movie, I would say this was more of a human element. It brought really nice things to reflect on, and especially seeing the cameo scene of seeing Wonder Woman, seeing Gal Gadot being there, and then also bringing back in the spoilers with Dr. Sylvana and Mr. Mind.
Yeah.
And indeed, just was hoping that maybe they would probably fix it and probably get Black Adam in. It just felt like, for all the Star Wars fans, it felt like The Last Jedi. You still didn't know where Rey came from, and you had to wait till later to find out what it was, and you're disappointed. This is how it felt like. It's kind of like, I want to see the main characters get in there, because this is what I want to see out of Shazam. Shazam's not one of my favorite DC guys, but indeed, everyone is talking about this, that they want to see finally Shazam and Black Adam go at it. But we already know what's going on with the DCU politics. We knew that The Rock, when he was in there, he wanted Black Adam and Superman going at it. We've seen in the cartoon movies, we've seen where Superman and Shazam had to team up to take on Black Adam.
Yeah.
But right now with James Gunn taking over, we don't know where things are going. So with this movie being said, not impressed with the heroes. The first movie I did, I gave it a 2. If I'm not mistaken, I gave it a 2. I'm going to give this movie a 3.
Okay.
I'm just going to take it a 3.
I just bumped mine down to 3, and we'll say it's all 3.
Yeah, we'll just make it 3
unanimous
overall.
No, if you like
It's a 3.164.
Now we get into the math here. Well, you guys, that concludes our movie reviews of Shazam. Stay tuned for the next movie review. We will do John Wick. That's going to be our next Silver Cosmo movie review. So we're going to do 1 through 4. So be prepared for that. And also, be prepared. We are also going to do a Silver Cosmo movie review classics, where what we're going to do is we're going to go back in time and we'll start pinpointing some movies here.
I want to do Tombstone.
Okay, so we have Tombstone. Tristan, is there an old movie that you like?
Not that comes to mind right away, no.
Is there one you've heard of maybe you want to see?
That maybe I want to see?
Godfather, Monty Python. Throwing out some old ones.
I mean, Die Hard's old.
Ooh, I'll watch
Die Hard?
Die Hard right now.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
guys,
I like that.
guys.
If he would've
no,
said-
wait, guys. Commando.
Ooh! I was
Just do
not.
80s Arnold
Yeah,
movies.
80s
Commandos,
Arnold,
Running
yeah.
Man.
I could tell everybody here. I
Terminator.
could tell everybody right now. Commando, 15 minutes. Last movie, the best part of the movie. You'll save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah, but it did have Alyssa Milano when I had a crush on her.
All right,
I was
well,
a kid then.
So on the first lineup of the classic, so it's still Silver Cosmo movie reviews, but we're going to have a little highlight classic. So our first pick we're going to do, I already addressed this, it's going to be Blade Runner. Blade Runner, directed by
original.
Ridley Scott, and starring Harrison Ford and Sean Young. So we will be doing that. Any shout-outs before we go?
Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on the show. It's always fun coming and talking about the movies.
Yeah, just shout out to everyone out there in the interwebs. Thanks for lending your ear.
I want to give a shout out to the people, of course, behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Eric, Powell, and Dolby Designs. Thank you for what you guys do. Thank you guys for being here. I mean, it keeps me in mind that these movies, it's what we go. We go get entertained, watch it, and then be able to review. We want to send a special shout out and condolences to the Neville family. We lost a great person here on the show. He was on our sports show, and we just want to say that our hearts go out to the family. And Kyle, I just want you to know we thank you so much for being on the show. You were fun to talk to, and it's not going to be the same without you here. But just know that when we do our upcoming shows as Sports Fellas, we're going to do it in your name and your memory, and just know that you are very missed, buddy. But also, besides that, I thank my friends and family for being supportive to me. I want to thank the AMC movie theaters for keeping entertaining there, and Boulevard, the Boulevard theaters there. And also, I want to thank a special person here that I forgot to mention. I just want to thank my kids. I mean, Marquez said something. I was giving him a hard time about it, but I just want you guys to know family's important. You know, always know that. Just be thankful, be blessed. You know, count your blessings. Just know that overall, that we are all important one way or another. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we look forward to the next episode. We're out.